Okay, this is part 2. We just
Okay.
wandered into quantum physics with our, very casual conversation. Tell us more about why did we wander into quantum physics, discussing whatever we were discussing?
Well, how we came upon it is that we're in our culture, in Western thought, we focused really on the material, on the manifestation of whether it's disease or anything else as a physical reality. And what quantum physics is now telling us is that the real energy is not in the materialized form, it's in the space around it. And that's, if we can understand how that space produces the energy, that's a source that's much stronger than the material itself. So if it's oil or coal or anything, that's still going to the physical, whereas the quantum physics is learning that time is relevant, space is relevant, all these things are relevant, and that the energy, the real massive energy, is in that negative space, not in the positive manifestation.
This has been around for quite a while. This is not new.
No, it's not new. It's not new.
How long has it been around?
I think even when Einstein was developing his theories, it was understood, but it wasn't brought out. Relativity was much more pushed, but now the quantum physics is coming. The field, the energy fields are where the power is. And we
but
just
why are we still not getting it? We meaning the mass.
It's very hard to sell.
General people.
It's very hard to sell.
What are we selling?
Well, we're selling coal, we're selling oil, we're selling material.
Whereas, like in Tong Ren, we are only selling a doll and a hammer. And
or
Max,
the wind or
laser.
solar. There are many forms of energy that's a serious thing. If you have a commodity which is hard to market and contain.
Like you make a one-time investment in a doll and a hammer, and you can work on 200-something diseases.
Well,
is that like unbelievable for the general public?
It's very unbelievable, and I think, even if you focus on just one or two of those diseases, you just think, what would it be if you had breast cancer? Somebody had breast cancer, and it was mapped out what the root was going to cost you $750,000, and then you have this chance. If somebody comes along and says, with 3 or 4 or 5 treatments at a very reasonable rate, I can...
And on the phone!
And on the phone!
Sorry, I'm laughing. I am not sympathizing with breast cancer patients, but this is very ridiculous.
Well, what's the economic value? There's no economic value for somebody who gets great referral fees if they do the treatment. So it gets down, as Galen said, all medicine is political, and I think that's what it is. There's a benefit, and you have to look at the benefit as to what's being, and I think people need to start looking back at what they can do.
It's very interesting because with your degrees, you could be charging people top dollars for your sessions. Why are you doing free sessions?
Right.
Are you like out of your mind? Like me?
I think that's part of the answer. I think we're all in this together, and I think that as a society gets sicker, unless there are people who are willing to go and put a piece of themselves in, then we all go down. And I think this is a way of giving back to, I think, a time. We're all very fortunate to be here and
be healthy and be able to help others.
And if you can help other people, I think that's the spirit in which healing really takes place. Somebody is there to listen, somebody is there to empathize, has a great curative quality to it, and I think if we can eliminate fear and stress in other people, it eliminates it in ourselves. So
we're healing ourselves while we're working on others.
Yeah, the giving goes both ways. I remember, just one quick aside, I remember going down and working with Paul Newman's Hole in the Wall Gang camp for terminally ill children, and going down thinking, what can I possibly give to these children, and then trying to do all these things, art programs, what I came away with is no matter how much I could give to these children who had serious illnesses, Parkinson's, sickle cell, cancer, I came away knowing that I had been given to 10 times more than I could ever possibly give. And what was I thinking about? Some corporate thing on the way down. I came back with a feeling of incredible gratitude that somebody who's looking at a terminal illness is actually giving out. And the poetry and the art that was created is created in a center like that. Just makes you realize that there is a spirit, there's a force way beyond, particularly in children, because they're so innocent and they're so connected to the collective.
Was that before you have learned Tong Ren, or after?
Before I learned Tong Ren, I was working with terminal illness. If you had known Tong Ren by then, you would have just taken out your hammer and work on them, right? Yes. Knowing you? Yes. Yeah. And actually, I did get into a discussion with one of the people there, which was interesting because the camp was set up to do chemotherapy, and I said, well, could we do some Tong Ren therapy? And the answer from the medical establishment was, we don't do therapy. And I thought that was an interesting interpretation.
Yeah, you mean they meant that they don't do any natural therapies or alternative
At that time, it wasn't really looked at. I mean, it's still Western societies, even though we spend lots of money and do good things, it's still out there, and it's still, they want it tested and endorsed.
Test what? Test Tong Ren?
Right.
But Harvard is doing that. Hello?
Right. Well, the group at
that
Hole in
time,
the Wall, we're all Yale people, so maybe that's...
oops.
I'm only kidding. I think Boston and Harvard and MIT are going to be the benefactors because they're staying more open-minded, and yes, they will be great spokespersons for Tong Ren.
I really look forward to the day that when the results of their research come out, and maybe we can get rid of the names of lunatics or wackos or whatever at that point. You know, we will become normal people again.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
It's a lovely conversation.
It was.
Thank you.
Thank you.